Guys, the 10 best AD carries for 13.1b. Who are they going to be, mate? Who are these bad boys going to be? Because there are some big changes in the bot lane. Cool, I'm telling you. These could be the biggest changes in the bot lane, well, for a while, I guess. I don't actually have a specific time frame there. But hey, guys, this is X, and welcome to today's video. So we're going to get into the 10 most broken AD carries for patch 13.1b, and yeah, maybe we'll talk about like some tips and tricks if I'm feeling generous. But yeah, make sure you stick around for the whole video so you know exactly who these champions are. And of course, guys, if you want to master any of these champions and the AD carry role itself, because let me put it this way, if a one-trick challenger Caitlyn, right, who's never played any other AD carry in his life, then starts playing a champion like Ezreal, he'll probably still be challenger. You know why? Because of how he plays the role. Of course, we can still teach you how to play Caitlyn, Ezreal, any AD carry, you name it, but playing AD carry, that's actually the hardest thing. That's what I'll teach you. That's what we will teach you, our challenger players and coaches. Check out the website, get signed up, join thousands of fellow summoners, and yeah, let's get into the video. Starting off at number 10, we have Varus. Now you might be thinking, Varus, but is he going to like, you know, going Blade of the Ruined King and on hit still? If Infinity Edge and Navori are getting buffed, like can he actually really make use of this like other champions? Maybe not, right? So the reason I've included Varus here is because lethality Varus is actually going to be even better. You might be scratching your head thinking, but he's going to be weaker than every other AD carry. Well, honestly, he might not be. I think he's actually going to be really good still because Varus is still going to be very good in lane and because Eclipse is getting buffed. So even though you're just losing the Omnivamp straight up from the item, guess what they're replacing it with? Ability Haste. Now as Varus, with lethality, do you care about Ability Haste? Of course you do. I mean, you definitely care about Ability Haste, right? More than Omnivamp. So this is huge for Varus. Yes, you're probably still going to rush Ghostblade, into Eclipse, into Mirror Mana. These three items for this champion. He's still going to have super high win rates. And this is actually the build that gives him the highest win rates across like every single elo. Now, do be a little bit careful if you do play Poke Varus into a very melee kind of divey team. Ideally speaking, against those champions, you would want to go lethal tempo with on hit. Okay, so do be careful of that. Poke Varus is amazing into range matchups. So if you're playing against Caitlyn Karma, right? If you're playing against an Ezreal and a range support, just two range champions in the bot lane, Poke Varus, even deadlier in 13.1b, he's number 10. Speaking of Ezreal, he's coming in at number 9. And you might be like, but Ezreal's win rate at the moment anyway is like 46, 47% trash. I mean, he is kind of trash at the moment, I agree. But in 13.1b, I mentioned in yesterday's video about the best builds. The number one build in that video was what? Can you guys remember? It was an Essence Reaver rush, right? Why is Essence Reaver such a good rush? Well, because it's getting 10 extra AD, and even though it's costing 100 extra gold, it's still 2,900 gold. You're going to get this spike quicker than most other champions, especially AD carries, who are getting 3,400 gold mythics. So the spike is still going to be sooner, and even better, you're getting more damage. So Ezreal's going to hurt a lot more around the Essence Reaver spike. Also, Essence Reaver, pair this with Navori Quick Blades. Now, I've mentioned a million times in our recent videos, the Navori Quick Blades, right, the passive, where you actually reduce your basic abilities cooldowns, right? Well, because this is activating off 40% crit now, not 60%, you can get this as your second major item. This process of actually like really spiking, because that is the big power spike for Ezreal, is expedited. Instead of getting your three major items, what, let's just say at 25 minutes for argument's sake, you get this now maybe before 20 minutes. So it's at least 5 minutes earlier. Then some games if you're really snowballing, which you can do with the new Essence Reaver, you'll get it even quicker and be able to influence matches more than you were before. I think it's very exciting for AD carries, and Ezreal is just one of them. That's why he's number 9. Now, speaking of an AD carry who can influence games, this is Kai'Sa. And Kai'Sa is here, well, we talked about Ezreal, right, with Essence Reaver, Eclipse for Varus getting changed for Kai'Sa. Honestly, there isn't really much to talk about here, guys, because the items are pretty much the same for her like they are any other champion. So if you're going, you know, like Kraken into Infinity Edge, I mean, Infinity Edge is exactly like Navori, right? It's proccing off 40% crit now, so I guess that's a change, but nothing is really getting like buffed here that she was going before, like Ezreal with Essence Reaver or Varus with Eclipse. So the real reason Kai'Sa is here is because, well, because that spike is, again, just like quicker in a game earlier, because you're really a scaling champion, right? Like you really come online once your abilities are evolved and all that. Well, this might happen around the same time, but the point is the damage spike is going to be so much bigger. And for Kai'Sa, who is a really good solo queue champion, like actually just the playstyle, you can fend for yourself, you can assassinate people, you have mobility, you're hard to kill. I think it's just great for solo queue. And hitting that Infinity Edge spike sooner, it only makes you more powerful. Now, speaking of more powerful, Samira is number 7 on the countdown. Now, Samira is an amazing champion into Draven, into kind of like range champions, especially if you have an engaged support next to you, especially mobile AD carries, right? Like Aphelios, you can stop his Crescendum. Draven, you stop his Axis, right? These type of champions who don't have dashes and stuff. So think about picking Samira. And yes, next patch, Samira, well, guess what? Infinity Edge is going to come around sooner. Pair that with a shield bow, steel caps most likely. Oh, get me out. Like, I can just see it. I can just see how annoying that's going to be and the amount of damage she's going to deal. She's like like one of the most prolific pentakill champions in the game. These are going to happen even more in 13.1b. So Samira number 7. Kai'Sa was number 8, by the way. I can't remember if I said number 7. But yeah, coming in at number 6, this is Caitlyn. So a bit of a different playstyle to Samira and Kai'Sa. We're playing at range, right? We want to be taking lethal tempo into close range matchups, but we want to be taking fleet footwork into range matchups. So if you're against a Varus and a Karma, if you're against a Varus Heimerdinger, if you're against an Ezreal and a Lux or something like this, right? Take fleet footwork on Caitlyn. Sustain, movement speed, useful to dodge skill shots, of course. That's important. But yes, on Caitlyn, you're in the same boat as every other AD carry. You have access to the Infinity Edge at 40% now, so second major item. And also, I should mention here, guys, for AD carries, that Bloodthirster is getting buffed. So you're receiving less lifesteal, right? But you're still receiving enough lifesteal to get all the HP back after you miss some HP. But you're getting a much bigger shield, and the item will come around sooner because it's 200 gold cheaper, 3,200 gold in total. So for Caitlyn and these other AD carries who are going crit mythic, so something like Gale Force, Kraken Slayer, Shield Bow, into Infinity Edge, getting a BT after this, it's probably going to be the staple mainstream build, right? Caitlyn is just really going to appreciate this, a bit more survivability, and you'll still deal good enough damage because BT, the attack damage is staying the same, right? So she is number 6. Now moving on to the top 5. Coming in at number 5, and I'm a little bit like kind of unsure where to put Zeri on this countdown. Like, is she going to be insanely busted? I have like kind of a fear she will be. But yeah, anyway, Zeri is going to be here, right? Even at the moment, she's incredibly strong. Like when you play against a good Zeri player, even if like her laning phase isn't that great compared to other AD carries, it's a heck of a lot better than what it was before they buffed her, right? So the fact that you're just stronger in the early game now means that you can get out of the early game into your mid to late game, which is still insane. And guess what? The early to mid game is better because of the Infinity Edge change, right? So if you're going something like Kraken Slayer on Zeri into Infinity Edge, like it's honestly like Samira. I can just picture it and people pulling their hair out playing against it. I think it's going to be really OP and obnoxious. So Zeri is number 5. And guys, if you are a Zeri main, if you're a Samira main, if you're an AD carry main, let me know in the comments section who you think is going to be the most annoying champion to play against. Now coming in at number 4, speaking of annoying, this one might be my number 1. This being Twitch. Now, why is Twitch so high up on this countdown? I mean, he's doing well at the moment, right? In terms of win rate. Even if you're going AP Twitch, he does well. But the real reason he's here is because he has an attack speed steroid. And this is going to be like kind of a common theme for these top 4 champions. So what does that mean then? Well, that just means that in your ability somewhere, passive Q, W, E, R, you have extra attack speed that other champions don't. So by playing Twitch, coming out of your ambush, out of your Q, you get attack speed, right? Why is this useful? Well, of course it's going to be useful because with the new Infinity Edge spike as your second major item, because your attacks are not only dealing more damage, but as Twitch, you'll be throwing more attacks out than a lot of other AD carries. That's the big thing here. So if you are one of those AD carries who can buff their attack speed, innately speaking, you are going to froth these changes more than anyone else. That's why Twitch is number 4. Now, number 3. Kind of following with this theme here, we have Misfortune. Now let's think, why would I put Misfortune in this countdown? So if you're going Kraken Slayer into Infinity Edge, into BT, into Collector, whatever you want to build, oh my god, you're going to be shredding people, right? Let's be honest, you are going to be one-shotting everyone with your ultimate, but also by throwing out attacks with your W, right? Because it's giving you attack speed, that's it. Exactly like I just mentioned for Twitch, right? When you get your W going on Misfortune, you get the extra attack speed. As soon as someone like jumps into you or onto you, especially if you build BT as your third major item, the shield you get, the lifesteal, right? It's going to actually be really hard to kill MF in 13.1b. I think she's going to shoot right to the top of the win rates as far as AD carries go. I'd highly recommend guys giving her a shot in your games. She also does very well into the second best AD carry for 13.1b, this being Draven. And exactly like Misfortune, right? Draven is going to benefit more because he has an attack speed steroid in his Bloodlust. When you catch an axe and you press W, you get attack speed, you get movement speed. You can do this on repeat after you catch axes. Now, of course, you're probably going to run when you do that, which is why you want to be rushing an Essence Reaver still, I think. You could go for something like maybe Shield Bow or even Kraken Slayer into Infinity Edge if you really want to push the limits. But honestly, Essence Reaver, a bit like Ezreal, rush that item because it's giving you more attack damage. Attack damage is like the most important stat for Draven. That's huge. That spike is going to be bigger. And then get an Infinity Edge after this. You'll be hitting harder than anyone at this point in the game in terms of just like raw damage output, right? And again, because you have an attack speed steroid, it's going to be even more OP than other champions using it. But the number 1 champion, guys, for 13.1b in terms of AD carries, and honestly, like, I would put her at number 1 for every single role in the game. Like, out of all the 160 plus champions, Tristana is number 1. Even at the moment, she's incredible incredibly powerful. But next patch, because Infinity Edge again, God, I sound like a broken record, I'm so sorry. But these are just the facts, right? Like, I have to mention them. Kraken Slayer into Infinity Edge, like other AD carries. Okay, that's just like a pretty standard setup. But why is it broken for Trist? Because you have an attack speed steroid in your Q. The one-shot potential you have is going to be insane, and because you scale as well as any other AD carry, this makes Tristana the scariest AD carry to see logged in. She also does so well into so many AD carries. There aren't really many AD carries who can actually like deal with her, and she can work with like most supports because like maybe a Lulu or a Karma or something like this, they can protect her and peel her, especially Lulu, even like a Yumi, right? But for attack speed, makes her a really good scaling champion. With Engage, you can jump in with your rocket jump. She's so versatile, and yeah, next patch, she's going to blow everyone to bits. So watch out for Tristana, guys, in 13.1b. Those were the 10 best AD carries. Thank you so much for watching the video. Until our next Season 13 upload, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This has been Ease. Peace.